You've been quiet lately. Is everything alright at work?
It's nothing.
The sun dipped low behind the rooftops as the familiar sound of a car engine pulled into the driveway. The house, modest but warm, seemed to come alive at that sound. Inside, the aroma of cooked food lingered in the air, and the soft laughter of children echoed down the hallway. This was their routine. Every evening, without fail. No matter how late it got, no matter how tired she was,
Welcome home, my love.
she always greeted him the same way, with warmth, respect, and a quiet joy that filled the house. She took his briefcase. She asked about his day. She served his food. Yet every night, something about him felt heavy.
You've been quiet lately. Is everything alright at work?
It's nothing.
He sat at the dining table, staring into his plate longer than necessary. His shoulders sagged. His responses were short, distant, wrapped in silence. The wife noticed. She always did. She didn't push. She never did. After dinner, she cleaned the dishes while helping the children with their homework. Later, she tucked them into bed, whispering prayers over their small sleeping bodies. By the time she finally lay beside her husband, he was already turned away, facing the wall. Night after night, this pattern repeated itself. Days turned into weeks. The sadness in him deepened. And the silence grew louder. One evening, the rain fell heavily outside, drumming against the roof like restless thoughts. The wife stood at the kitchen sink, watching the droplets race down the window. Her husband had come home later than usual that day, his face darker than she had ever seen it. She served his food. He barely touched it.
Please, talk to me. I can see something is troubling you.
You want to know what's wrong? You don't do anything. You stay at home all day. You don't pay the children's school fees. Everything is on me.
The sound echoed sharply in the quiet room. He exhaled deeply, as though something heavy had finally broken loose inside him. The words hung in the air, cold, sharp, unforgiving. The wife stared at him, stunned. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came out. Her eyes shimmered, but she refused to let the tears fall. She said nothing. No argument. No defense. No raised voice. She stood slowly, picked up his untouched plate, and walked into the kitchen. That night, she cried silently. The next morning, the house felt different. She still prepared breakfast. She still packed his lunch. She still smiled. But something behind her eyes had changed. A quiet decision had been made. Days later, she stepped out of the house early in the morning, dressed neatly, her bag slung over her shoulder. She returned late in the evening, exhausted but composed. Then again the next day. And the day after that. Soon, money started coming into the house, from her. School fees were paid. Electricity bills were settled. Groceries were restocked. The husband noticed. At first, he felt relieved. Then, confused. As weeks passed, the house began to change. The sink filled with dishes. Laundry piled up. The kitchen grew quiet.
What's for dinner?
I just got back from work.
The meals that once welcomed him home were no longer waiting. There was no anger in her voice. No accusation. Just fact. She moved past him, removed her shoes, and sat down heavily on the couch. He stood there, unsure what to say. That night, he washed dishes for the first time in years. The plates were heavier than he remembered. Days turned into months. The wife now left before sunrise and returned after dark. Sometimes she was too tired to speak. Sometimes she fell asleep on the couch, still in her work clothes. The children missed her bedtime stories. The house missed her touch. And slowly, the man began to miss her too. One evening, he came home to a dark house. No food. No laughter. No warm welcome. Just silence. He sat alone at the dining table, staring at the empty chair across from him. And for the first time, he remembered. He remembered how she used to wait by the door. How she managed the home without complaint. How she raised the children, cooked, cleaned, prayed, and still found time to smile. Things he had never counted as work. Guilt crept into his chest. Heavy, unforgiving. That night, when she returned late, he didn't complain. He served her food.
You must be tired.
The silence between them felt different now. Not empty, but full of regret. From that day on, he watched her more closely. Not with judgment, but with understanding. He began to help. He began to listen. He began to see. Some lessons don't come through shouting. They arrive quietly, after damage has already been done. And in that quiet house, a man finally learned that contribution is not only measured by money, but by love, sacrifice, and the invisible labor that once held everything together.